Hello everyone. So today I'm going to be modeling an ear. So the reason why I keep ears as a separate video is, for one, you don't really need to go super in detail with ear models. A lot of times people just kind of get through it with textures. You don't really see them as often depending on your character's head and the hair they have, things like that. But I thought I'd make a separate video tutorial in creating a really nice ear. That way, in case you do ever want to make one, you got your resources for it. So I already have my pictures, my reference photos set up. So we're going to create this using a kind of a different method. And the way we're going to do is kind of interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to create polygon primitives, and I'm going to actually create what's called a pipe. And for that pipe, I'm going to change some of the inputs. So I'm going to change my subdivision axis to 9. And I think that's all I really need for now. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to delete all the faces except the top. These are the only ones we need. So I'm just going to go in, I'm going to rotate those. Let me just go into object mode so I get a full rotation. So let me actually go and do it this way so I can actually get the proper 90-degree rotation. There we go. So I'm going to center my pivot and freeze my transformations. You don't really need to do this, just force a habit. And what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to delete one of these faces. That's kind of why I made a subdivision of 9, because I actually want a subdivision of 8, but we want that hole right there, so this will make things easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I turn X-ray on so I can see my reference photos. I'm just going to do it on here preemptively. We're not going to get into the front view for a little while, but what we're going to end up doing is we're going to be placing these vertices in specific locations, so that way we could create different parts of the ear nice and easy. So in this case, what I'm doing is I'm going to take some of these faces and I'm just going to put them in the proper area. So in this case, this is going to go roughly around here by the end of my earlobe. So that's going to go right around there. And this is going to go pretty much on the other portion of the earlobe. So that's going there. Next set, I'm going to go this way. And this is going to be a project that involves a lot of different modeling or manipulation of the vertices. So if you watched the hand modeling tutorial or the head modeling tutorial, you'll kind of be used to how this is going to be set up. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of moving these vertices into place. I'd recommend just kind of like keeping an eye on how I'm moving them and where I'm moving them for now, just like in the back of your head. And then once I get to the final placement of them, you kind of pause the video and really just kind of get a good idea of where everything is going. So this is going to go right around here. So that looks good. This is going right here. Let me just try to line these up nicely. We are doing a decent amount of planning ahead of time in the placement of all these vertices. So that's why I'm just kind of like double checking to make sure everything kind of fits nicely. And if things don't fit properly in these areas, don't worry about it, because it's all going to get corrected as we go along. But for now, I'm just kind of getting the rough idea of where everything should be going and moving them along that route. So that's going to be going right there roughly. This should probably go in a little bit more. That should go there, that should go there. That looks pretty good. Let's move this one a little bit more. Right there. Move that back to there. So I am kind of going a bit back and forth with things, but that's okay. It'll make more sense as we get through to it. So that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. So yeah, this is the rough starting shape that you want for your ear. So if you want to pause your video now, here is probably the best time to do so, because after this point, it's all very important on where things are going. So, now that I've got this kind of like outer ring of my ear, we kind of start figuring out the next area we're going to be moving things. And based on how we do it, is really going to kind of come into play on how everything is going to be shaped out overall. So, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to be creating about 5 extrusions to kind of shape out this big piece of the ear. And then we'll kind of get a couple more extrusions, well, one more extrusion in for that part as well. So what I'll end up doing is I will take this edge right here and I'm going to extrude it and kind of work my way around. So I'll do an extrusion right here, and I'm going to go and try my best to follow along the inside of this kind of curve. So I'm just going to be creating extrusions just like that and using that as my base for where they should be going, how they should be scaled, rotations, all that. And that way, when I start kind of working my way through things, it'll become a lot easier to kind of understand. So this one's going to go over here. So that's going there. Yeah, I'll do one here. I'm going to just resize these afterwards. I'm just going to get the rough extrusions in for now. So I'll do one right there. Kind of rotate it this way. And I'm going to have another extrusion kind of building up that way. So I'll move there. This is kind of like an area where you kind of just want to like take things pretty slow to kind of get an idea of where everything is going and how they're going to be moving around. So just like that. And this way, when I kind of start shaping things out, we should have a good setup. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get these in the proper positions. So this should be going right about here, if I remember correctly. And this one will be going right about here, so I'm going to probably move this a bit better. And that way we have our nice shapes. So everything looks good there? Okay. So I'm going to start going with my merging of the vertices. I'm going to take these, I'm going to do those. I'm going to just kind of go along this line right here. And I'll get these right there. Move this a little bit better. And now I have this. I'll merge these. And I'm going to bring this one up higher and then merge those. So that way we have our nice base shape. And the next thing I'm going to do is we have these 3 holes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to double click an edge so it goes all the way around. I'm going to go to edit mesh, mesh and then fill hole. I'm going to do the same for here and here. And after that, I'm going to kind of go in and I'm just going to adjust these a little bit better. You don't really need to, I'm just kind of going in to kind of shape this a little nicer. And now we have a solid object with the correct amount of geometry. And we're really just kind of getting ready to set up our ear. So this face right here is very important. This is going to become our ear canal. So what I'm going to end up actually doing is I'm going to create an extrusion. I'm going to show it in perspective view just so you can kind of see what's going on. I'm going to go create an extrusion. I'm going to bring it in that way. I'll scale it down. And this piece is going to go kind of inward like that. And that way we have our rough ear canal. And the reason why I like doing it now is just because it kind of gets it out of the way and moves things in a nice position. So after that, another thing I want to do is, if you look right here in our front view, let me just bring it over here, you kind of see that split right here, and we're going to create that as well. And to do that, we're going to use what's called the multi-cut tool. I'm going to put a cut right here, a vertex. I'm just going to cut one right there, and one right there. So we've got 2 slices, 3 vertices I'm creating. And that does give us a couple of problems right now, but they should be fixed later on as we kind of work on it. But we're going to kind of get that in there for those details. So let me just kind of adjust these a little bit better. And I could use this to adjust my ear a little bit more and put those into play. So the next thing I'm going to do before we go to the next video is I'm going to kind of just set up this ear by going into the front view and just rotating the whole thing just so it kind of fits the general shape of it, just so we kind of get that angle of it kind of going outwards, just like that. It doesn't match up perfectly, that's okay, we just kind of want that rough angle. And the next one we'll start creating more of the ear. See you then.